Hello, welcome to Wingin It, and welcome back to another Wingspan tournament game here. This one is going to be a post-commentated game, so this is a game I played a little while ago. This was before Asia came out, so we've got base game, European and Oceania expansions, but I thought this was a pretty interesting game, and so I wanted to go back and do some commentary to show off this game and give a little bit of insight into my thinking as it played out. We are going first in this game, so let's jump straight in here to our starting hand, and you will see we've got some very interesting options here. We have got white wagtail. These kind of teal powers are always appealing to me, but you may see it as well. We've got killdeer in the tray, and we are going first here, so yeah, we have got potential here to have a nice setup, because tree creeper in the hand as well. That is the bird I like a lot, and really don't get too many opportunities to use it, I think, now on these Oceania boards. So I like to jump at the opportunity to use unusual birds whenever they present themselves. So yeah, tree creeper, as I say, grabbed pretty quickly. A mockingbird as well. I mean, that's always good when you've got a strong brown power like killdeer to be able to copy that. See a bunch more cards. But as I say, we've got this wagtail as well, and so that is a bit of a spanner in the works. It's a bit of a interesting decision here, because I'm trying to work out, okay, is there a world where I can use all of these birds, or am I going to have to pick and choose? Am I going to have to make some difficult decisions and maybe, prioritize something like the wagtail? Because, as I say, it's a really strong power. These kind of teal powers where, you're allowed to play more birds if you're doing all the actions. These are just so strong on the Oceania boards, and yeah, really good to be able to use that kind of option. But as I say, with tree creeper, they kind of clash a little bit. There are situations where you can make both of them work, but you need a lot of food going if you can be able to play extra birds at the round end, and then obviously when you're taking food as well, using the tree creeper. And I should say, in the tray, not just the killdeer, we've also got this black woodpecker, which is another really interesting option. I think works very well with the wagtail if you're going to be taking that, getting extra food. But you'll see we're not going with the wagtail here. So I was trying to work out my plan here in terms of, could I get them all down? Would I have enough food to be able to use them all? And sadly, the conclusion I came to was no. So maybe slightly controversially, not going with the wagtail. But as I say, I can already start to see a very nice board potential here with the killdeer, with the mockingbird, with the tree creeper, and potentially with that woodpecker as well. But I think, if we're not going with the wagtail, it's maybe not quite so important, because yeah, we can just dig for a little bit. I think, I say, killdeer mockingbird is so strong. We've obviously kept the food for those birds. We can do that digging, and yeah, we've got the tree creeper, and that's just going to let us play some good forest birds. So with killdeer mockingbird, if we're seeing 4 cards every time we lay eggs, I'd hope we're going to find some nice big point forest options that we can play there, and yeah, just really build something good here. There's definitely potential with this nice grasslands. And alright, here we go on to our first turn of the game. Our opponent also just keeping the 2 birds there. But yeah, we're going to go, I say, straight away grab the killdeer and yeah, keep the nectar. So I think it's always interesting, I think, in these sort of situations where you are taking a bird from the trade turn 1, because you can spend the nectar and get a second one. But I'm kind of thinking here, actually, I'd rather keep the nectar. I think that just gives me more flexibility to play potentially some more birds, and we are going to need that, and we're definitely going to need that when my opponent's going with Franklin's Gull. So yeah, it's kind of an interesting situation. As I say, nearly went with the wagtail, went with the killdeer instead, and now we're matching up like for like in this grassland. So it feels like a fair fight, at least at the moment, but yeah, will depend a little bit what each of us can find. And as I say, with our mockingbird, we're going to be looking at a lot of cards, so we're going to legs, we can use this killdeer, and this is just another reason why I didn't spend the nectar, because actually these cards, it's going to be so plentiful to be able to find stuff, as I say, with the killdeer and with the mockingbird. So yeah, spending 1 nectar to see 1 extra card doesn't really feel too worthwhile doing. But yeah, we'll go ahead, as I say, and just get this mockingbird down. So there was maybe a world in which I was considering, okay, do we keep digging for a little bit longer? Maybe keep the food so that we can play the tree creeper and then potentially use that. Obviously, by playing the mockingbird, now we're just left with that 1 food. So we'll have to take food again, potentially, if we're going to try and go for this tree creeper. But yeah, I think just building out this grasslands here is the priority. Get now the extra egg with the mockingbird down, but also, as I say, just see more cards. We're already finding good stuff. So cassowary is excellent. That's a really, really nice one to look at playing late on. When you got Tree Creeper, such a nice play. So I'll already be thinking about that. But yeah, potentially some other good options. I mean, the grosbeak, we are going to need extra food. You'll see my opponent did go for the black woodpecker and did get that down. So I think that could have been a good option for me if it was still there as a potential pickup. But not to be. But yeah, on to our next turn. And again, more nice options. So not a forest bird, but puffin. You've always got to pick it up when it's there. So no questions asked. We're going to go for that. And there we go. Our first bonus card bird we're going to get here. Cassis Finch. That's the sort of thing that I like to look to play with Tree Creeper, I think. Just any of those big point birds, any of those bonus card giving birds, they're just always good plays, I think, in these situations. And to be able to get them down on the same turn that you take the food that you need to play them is just such a great option. But yeah, while we've got egg space, I think we just keep digging. I think it's so valuable to just see so many cards early on. And again, we're now finding some good stuff in this grassland. So Fishcrow and Nightingale both coming up on the same turn. So that gives me some interesting decisions. That gives me some interesting options to maybe, I don't know, do I even still need the Tree Creeper here if we can get 2 food in the grasslands? And of course, make sure that at least some of that is nectar. And so we are going to go with the Nightingale. Now, there's definitely some careful considerations to make here. Obviously, I say we are up against the Franklin's Girl. So normally not the kind of situation where you really want to be giving away free food. So I'm going to be careful. But as I say, we are going to be able to use this just to help a little bit of tempo. Maybe we just use this to actually just get a little bit of food to then play the Tree Creeper into next round and really go from there. So yeah, obviously not doing much on the end of round goal, but that wasn't really our priority. I'll happily sacrifice those points if it helps me get my Grasslands engine going a little bit quicker. And yeah, that's what we've been able to do here. So as I say, my opponent's was not looking too bad, but we've definitely had the better development in this Grasslands. Just all of these extra cards we're seeing, and just by building out this Grasslands as well, we can turn those back into eggs. So we're not really losing out anything here. You'll see. Yeah, I'll quite happily chuck 2 of those cards, get some extra eggs, and yeah, start getting a bit of food. So I think what I'm trying to work out here is it worth going with this Fishcrow? And I think the conclusion I came to is that it probably is. It probably is worth going for that. So we do grab the fish, and now I've just got to work out what do I copy here? Do I keep copy the killdeer? Do I actually copy the Nightingale? And I think it's worth copying the Nightingale here. As I say, if we're going Fishcrow, get that down sooner. Not only is it going to be helping out, maybe get a bit more food, but it's just helping push that grasses out an extra spot, get those extra eggs coming in. And yeah, the 2 food in the grasslands, as I say, then we can really look at potentially getting the food. Still for this Tree Creeper, I think it's still an option, but I can keep my options open at this point. I don't need to commit to it. I would like to find some more forest birds, because I think that really is where Tree Creeper is at its strongest, is when you already have the forest birds that you can play with it. It's so much more difficult to work with if you kind of play it and hope that you're going to find some good forest birds later, because absolutely no guarantee, even here with Killdeer Mockingbird, no guarantee that you're going to be able to find those kind of options. So I say I would kind of like to, yeah, just wait a little bit. I mean, I say we've already got 2 good options, but I'm hoping for some more nice big point birds, more bonus card giving birds that I know I can look at playing with that Tree Creeper. And yeah, I'm not in any rush. I say we can just lay eggs for a little bit, keep using this Killdeer, keep using these food gaining birds in the grasses. And you'll see there my opponent found the other one, found the gold crest. So that's probably the one I would rather have in this situation. I think cards obviously a little bit more plentiful than eggs, and cards aren't worth points, eggs are. So I'd rather be throwing away cards. But I think Tree Creeper can still work in this situation. But yeah, we're potentially going to have some very, very similar looking boards here. If we do go with the Tree Creeper, and I think we are, because there we go, Kakapo did come up on that turn. So yeah, as I said, that's another great option. And the more of these good forest birds that I find, the more that I'm going to be thinking to myself, yeah, Tree Creeper is absolutely going to be worth playing. So yeah, just got to kind of work up the timing and the sequence of when it's going to be worth doing that. But yeah, I think for as long as I've got turns in this round, And for as long as I've got space on my birds for more eggs, there's no harm in laying eggs and just see what we find. Maybe we get something that's going to pull us in a different direction, but it's always valuable just to see more cards in these situations. But we're going to get Tree Creeper down. I think I was sort of looking at this end of round goal a little bit, birds with no eggs, and thinking to myself, actually, maybe if we play 2 birds with the Tree Creeper here, we can get some extra birds down. Maybe, make a bit of a dash for the end of round goal. So we do go with that. And yeah, as I say, I think when you've got some nice bonus card birds in the hand, in the Finch, in the Kakapo, those are always going to be good plays regardless. So always good as well to just pay attention to the feeder, be ready when using Tree Creeper. You know, ideally, I want to be going for those rerolls. I want to be getting nectar spent. I want to be, being able to just have that flexibility, but also try and push for the nectar scoring. It is where we're going to be, hopefully quite strong in this game. Obviously, Fish Crow will help us out a little bit, but we'll hopefully get the extra food from the bird food as well. But as I say, interesting setup on my opponent's side, but really the difference I think between these 2 boards is just the development in the grasslands. As I say, we've got 4 birds down and they're all really strong brown powers, but my opponent, just the gull, not really found anything else to add to that. So as strong as that Goldcrest is going to be in the forest, it is really that grasslands that is lacking a little bit. But we are looking good for this end of round goal. So we're going to take food. We're going to get the 2 nectars that we want. And we're going to start playing these bonus card birds. So may as well start with the Cassis Finch. See what that's going to be early on. 2 0 pointers, but maybe some things we can work towards. So bird counter's an interesting one. Would maybe have liked that a little bit earlier, but not actually got anything there. So I was thinking about maybe a behaviorist, but we've already blocked off column 1 and we've not really got anything good for column 2. So I'd probably be pushing for 3 points at most on that. But at least with bird counter, there are some big point options, and maybe I'm sort of thinking to myself, if I find like a chaffinch later on, or even like a bush tit or a blackbird for this grasslands, just to maybe turn some of these extra cards into tucks and into eggs. That might be an option that I would already look at going for them. Now that I know I can get 2 extra points off those birds, I could certainly look at doing that. But equally, I'm looking for stuff like Hornbill, I'm looking for stuff like Black Noddy, those kind of big point options that also hit bird counter. So still plenty of time left in this game. So with a little bit more digging, our chances of finding those sorts of options should be pretty good. But so we've already got some nice options. So Castle Road definitely will be looking at playing that later, and the Kakapo. But we've also got the Snowy Owl and, of course, that Puffin that we did pick up earlier. So this is just all about trying to plan and trying to, work out, first of all, which birds am I going to play in the forest, but then which birds am I going to play outside of the forest, and therefore, what food do I need to take? Looking at this Fish Crow, looking at this Nightingale, which foods do I need to grab there? And obviously I'll grab as much nectar as I can, but don't really want to give out nectar with this Nightingale. So giving out fish, and again, I'm sort of like preemptively thinking about Puffin later as a nice big point play. Another nice big point play coming up here in the Kiwi. So that's another one we can get down with Tree Creeper. And that's just going to be a really, really good option. But when it comes to Nightingale, I think there's always some interesting dilemmas in terms of, which foods do you want to give out? And I tend to try and give out the foods that I think are going to be least useful for my opponent. So as I say, I steer clear of nectar. But generally, I kind of stay away from the more common food types like worms and seeds, because they're useful for stuff like prairie chicken. I'll go for fish, which this Puffin is going to eat, and we're going to get another disappointing bonus card draw. So this is a little bit frustrating. Another 2 zeros, and again, 2 zeros that we don't really have much hope of actually being able to score on. So a bit of a shame, but did win that end of round goal, which was nice. So we come into round number 3, and we've got a perfect bird in the tray here in the Galas. So that's going to hit bird counter, and that is going to be a great combo here with the Mockingbird, because this is a bit of a strange grasslands where these are all good birds that I want to copy, but I don't necessarily want to be gaining more cards, gaining more food in this situation. I think I'm actually good for both of those resources. I'd like a point generator to copy him. There's not much better than Galar, as I say. with the bird counter, so we're going to get more points there. But yeah, just being able to copy that, basically we're doubling our grasslands point output, probably more than that, just by playing this galah, because guaranteed 2 points each time, another guaranteed 2 by copying it, as I say, with the mockingbird. So that was a great find, and that's just going to cap off this grasslands for me and just give me more options, because there's no guarantee that we're going to keep finding good birds. We've still got a few. As I say, I think some of these forest plays are going to be nice. And then maybe this snowy owl as well for the wetlands. But, if we have got strong grasslands, we could easily just go and just hammer that late in the game and get loads and loads of eggs in. But for now, we're actually going to take a little bit of a detour. We're going to take food. I was just trying to see if I could get a little bit more nectar. Try and spend as much as I could in this grasslands, because we are a little bit behind there. And playing our last bird in the grasslands, it's just going to, cap our limit on what we can spend in nectar. So if I can spend 3 nectar on the galah doing that, just to give myself the best chance, I'm going to do that. And so, yeah, we did get the extra nectar. Obviously, play the kakapo. Not going to get the bonus card now, but that'll be a nice little surprise for us later on. So, yeah, it's all coming together here. As I say, pretty sure we'll be doing galah next with these last 2 eggs. And we're just, cementing this end of round goal as well. So, looking good there. Going to have some thinking to do with that last one as well, eggs in the forest. I think both players go grasslands. We'll make that a bit of a challenge, but yeah, we've also got Ula just to think about, so we will have to maybe spread our eggs around more than I would like to for that end of round goal. But yeah, Cassowary still in hand. That's quite a nice option, especially where we are going to be going second in that last round. You can potentially catch your opponent out where they don't really expect all those eggs to come in, so that'd be a nice one. But yeah, you see my opponent is getting some nice birds down, so Goldcrest playing Benelli is always a scary one. So that definitely looked nice, but yeah, not necessarily finding too many big bottoms. Just Golden Eagle is a good one. Go down in their grasses, but yeah, we've built our grasses, so it's time to use it. So I say this galah, this is going to do a lot of heavy lifting for us throughout the rest of this game, just making sure that actually these turns that we're laying eggs, they were really just resource turns before. We were getting food, we were getting cards, we were getting a few eggs to use this tree creeper. But now they're turning into point generating turns, which is exactly what I want towards the end of this game. And you'll even see we're starting to skip some of these other brown powers. So yeah, do kind of feel like I'm almost good for food. I don't really need to necessarily give out extra food, and I'm almost good enough for cards as well. So I could certainly see a nice end game here, as I say, where we just legs a bunch, use this galah, potentially scoring 8 points a turn, 4 eggs, 4 tucks, really, really solid. You're going to need a really good bird to be worth playing instead of laying eggs for 8 points. So that's a nice option. But yeah, as I say, just maybe thinking a little bit about the last end of round goal as well. Try and work out how we're going to negotiate that. But we've got 3 good birds to play. I mean, I think definitely Kiwi is going to go down because that Falcon is going to do nothing for us. I'll happily get rid of that and see 4 new bonus cards. But still, Cassowary, still an option. Still something I'm going to be looking at potentially playing on top of this tree creeper. So that might just have to be a wait and see moment. As I say, we're going to have as much information as possible before reacting to that. But yeah, just lay eggs, get a bunch of points. As I say, gather a little bit of nectar, try and think about where we're going to spend that. I think probably I'm going to try and look at playing the Snowy Owl first. I think it's nice to just see the extra bonus card before going ahead and yeah, playing the Kiwi. But at the same time, that Falconer, pretty sure that's going to score us 0. I'd have to find something really good. I'd have to find like a Horned Owl or something like that to play the Forest to justify keeping that. But yeah, with these kind of Snowy Owl bonus cards, we're usually seeing 1. Maybe I draw a 0 on that as well. There's no guarantees at all. So I think we do, yeah, go ahead and play that here. So just see what that bonus card is going to be. It's a much better one, Viticulturist. So that was a bit of a sigh of relief because, as I say, kind of got burned a little bit through the Puffin and the Finch, just not really drawing good stuff. So we got the 7 points there. That's going to be a really, really nice one to yeah, just pick up now and not have to worry about, and we can focus our efforts elsewhere as we go into the end game here. And as I say, shouldn't be too many difficult decisions on our side, I think. You know, we'll kind of just play it by ear. I don't think I'm going to use the killdeer unless something comes up in the tray that's kind of an obvious good pickup. So we'll kind of see how that goes. But yeah, my opponent, you know, the bit I could grasp this out, as I say, maybe took a little bit too long, just maybe couldn't find the right stuff. But definitely looking good there. Couldn't quite tie us on the end of round goal. We come into the final round, and yeah, course couldn't hatch another bonus card burst, so that might tempt me. That might tempt me, but as I say, a bird like that, you know, you've got to compare that to the 8 points that I could be getting laying eggs. You know, is that worth it? Is that bonus card gamble worth it? I've already taken a lot of bonus card gambles. Some of them haven't paid off. We're already going to be getting Kakapo bonus cards. We're already going to be getting Kiwi bonus cards as well. So, you know, do I need to throw another one in there? I don't know. Luckily, I don't have to make that decision because it's not there anymore. So, yeah, I can pretty happily, as I say, just lay eggs and skip these brown powers, skip these food gaining brown powers at least. Obviously use the Galar to its full benefit here. Get a massive amount of tucks and skip this killdeer. So yeah, I think, as I say, with the 4 turns left in this round, it's going to be Kiwi, and we're going to see on Cassowary because, again, I'm going to keep saying it, you know, is that worth playing? Is that worth playing compared to just laying eggs? We're going to have to wait and see. So maybe nectar spending comes into it, although I think we're looking quite, you know, well set up here in this forest, so may not matter too much. But yeah, there you go. Course kind of actually does go down for my opponent. So yeah, we're just going to keep laying eggs. As I say, we've got to sort of spread these out a little bit. Make sure that we're hitting Eologist, which we shouldn't have too many problems doing because we have got a lot of birds down. But at the same time, you know, I've got to think about this end of round goal, try and get as many eggs up there in the forest as I can. So that's gonna make for some interesting dynamics here. And yeah, I want to fill up on the tree creeper, but at the same time, that's going to be the one that I get rid of if I am going to play the cassowary. So I can't fill up too much, or else I am really gonna struggle and just potentially lose some eggs there. So got to think carefully there. But it's a really tight end of round goal. I say my opponent, I think they've got the higher potential to score more points off that. Definitely got more egg space, but we'll see what we can do. But yeah, 3 turns left, so I think probably I'm going to go and look at playing this Kiwi and just see, because, you know, maybe I get a good bonus card, maybe get like Omnivore or something like that, that's really going to persuade me into playing Cassowary instead. You know, I'm just not going to know until I've actually seen those bonus cards. So I think this is probably a good time to go and do that, especially, you know, with the nectar in the tray. I don't need the nectar, but it's nice to just be able to have that and not worry about, you know, getting the right food cost. So yeah, we do indeed go ahead, get the food that we need for this Kiwi. So we can ditch an egg, we've got plenty of those. Get the Kiwi down, and it's going to be Falconer, that's going to go, because we know we're not really going to score points off that. And we are going to see four more bonus cards. So hopefully we're going to get something good from that. So there goes Falconer. What can we get in return? And there we go. Enclosure Builder, which is exactly the sort of option that makes Cassowary worth playing. And we did draw Omnivore as well, but you'll see we're just doing some checking, doing some counting, because it may not actually be the best option here, because we have also got Site Selection Expert, and Cassowary in that first column, again, it's like the perfect bird to just slot in there and get a couple more points. So yeah, I think in either case, you know, Site Selection is better now, but it will also be better than Omnivore if we do play Cassowary. So yeah, a couple of good pickups there. Very, very nice. And as I say, that is going to sway me into playing the Cassowary, because you know, with the cost of the tree creeper, and obviously losing the tree creeper, losing those 2 points, you know, Cassowary, it's not quite as good of a play as it might otherwise be. And you know, especially, as I say, with the potential to maybe try and fill up extra forest spaces here for the end of round goal. But yeah, when I know that I can get 3 extra points off Enclosure Builder, I can get another 2 off Site Selection. That's just going to, yeah, push it over the edge and definitely make it worth playing. But we'll lay eggs one last time here. I say just to, yeah, fill up that last little bit of space on the Kiwi. It's gonna be tough to try and do much on this at around goal. I say my opponent's got a lot of space and may well lay eggs on this last turn, but we can only do what we can do, and we don't need to use these brown powers anymore. I say just kind of, yeah, know that even if I've got to force down this cassowary, it's not gonna be a problem. We don't need the food, and we don't even need it to be nectar. So we're looking well set there. And yeah, obviously don't need to use the killdeer either at this stage of the game. So yeah, very nice final round. As I say, just being patient, seeing what comes up, seeing if I need to use these brown powers, using the Kiwi at the right time to just give that little bit more information before coming through to that last turn, so I know that, yeah, cassowary is going to be a good place. So we'll see what my opponent is going to do on the last turn. As I say, I imagine it is going to be laying eggs. Indeed, is laying eggs to, yeah, make sure they get the end around goal. So nothing we could do there. Just got to take it on the chin. But we know we've still got, yeah, a very nice play coming through here for our last turn. So yeah, just doing my final checks, just making sure I counted right, making sure that, you know, I, I took the right bonus cards before committing and going ahead and playing it. But yeah, this cassowary is going to be a good place. So we're going to take food. We're going to get absolutely none of the food that we need for cassowary, which I say it's a little bit annoying, but we can at the very least throw a card, get a reroll. We do get 1 nectar there, so better than nothing. And so yeah, here we go. Cassowary on top of Tree Creeper. So very nice synergy there. Good combo to get a bunch more eggs. Not going to be enough for the end of round goal, but still it's pure points at this stage of the game, which is exactly what we're looking for. So yeah, here we go into the yellow powers, and Kakapo, what a find getting Mechanical Engineer there, 8 points. Exactly what you want to see from that kind of late game bonus card. So yeah, as I say, got burned a little bit on some of the earlier bonus cards, but yeah, these late game plays really came through for us. So decent points on the nectar, winning 2 habitats, tying the 3rd. We're looking good here as we come into the final score. So yeah, got loads and loads of birds down, obviously. Tree Creeper, so nice. Lots of food going around, but my opponent actually edging us slightly there. But bonus cards were super strong for us. So yeah, very nice. 35 points in total. Very big score. Pretty even on the end of round goals. Obviously, both of us had a lot of eggs through the grasslands, but plenty of tucks as well. That late game Galar really serving us well. And yeah, strong nectar scoring, and it's a strong overall score. 148 in the end, up against 106. So yeah, really interesting game. I was super happy with how this one played out. I say Tree Creeper's a lot of fun, and I'm always happy to get an opportunity to play it and show it off, and yeah, just show you guys how strong it can be when you get the right setup around it, when you get the right birds to play. And this was certainly that situation. So as I say, really nice bonus cards. We made them work. Definitely scoring well there. We'll take a look at my opponent's side. Yeah, not too bad. A couple of good bonus cards. Bit of a dud draw at the end. It's always the risk with the Nahatch, but yeah, very similar looking starts, as I say. Killdeer and Tree Creeper up against Gull and Goldcrest, but I think we were just able to make it work slightly better on our end. Get the good grasslands around it, and the score definitely shows that. So yeah, hope you enjoyed that one. As I say, I think that was a pretty interesting game. Hopefully some good takeaways for you guys to learn from there. If you want to see more games of Wingspan, do please consider hitting subscribe, following along. I've got a few more games like this from the past that I'm going to be showing in the near future, but I've also got plenty of Asia content as well. So if you want to see that, do stay tuned, and I hope to see you in another video very soon.